Have you ever been listening to native English speakers and felt like they're using some kind of secret code? Well, today we are going to crack that code. We're diving into the idiomatic phrases that will make your English sound way more natural, more colorful, and just more advanced. So let's get right into it. What does it really mean when someone has to foot the bill, or when a person becomes a scapegoat? These aren't just random words. They're super powerful phrases that carry a ton of meaning. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly how and when to use them.
Our goal today is pretty simple. We're going to learn the phrases that English speakers actually use in real life. Think of these as the building blocks for more confident, more engaging conversations. So, yeah, let's get started.
All right, first up, we're going to tackle phrases that deal with social dynamics. How we talk about who's responsible for what, who takes the blame, and who ends up paying the price.
Let's start with a tough but really important one. You'll hear this in news reports, in movies, and just in everyday life. A scapegoat is what we call someone who gets stuck taking all the blame for a problem. Now, the key to this phrase is that one little word, unfairly. A scapegoat isn't just blamed, they're often a really convenient, single target for a much bigger, way more complex problem. They kind of end up absorbing all the anger or disappointment for an entire group.
Think about this sports example. It's perfect. A goalie never loses a game all by themselves, right? Maybe the offense didn't score, or the defense was just weak. But it's so much easier to point the finger at the very last person who touched the ball. That makes them a classic scapegoat.
Okay, so from blame, let's shift over to financial responsibility. This next phrase is all about who ends up paying for something. And you know what? It often comes with a bit of a negative vibe. The real key here is that the person footing the bill isn't always happy about it. Not at all. They might be paying for someone else's bad choices or for something they didn't even really benefit from.
In this example, you can just feel the frustration, can't you? A parent is paying for something incredibly expensive, but they feel like the other person isn't holding up their end of the deal. That annoyance you can hear in the question, that is the core feeling of footing the bill.
Okay, next up, let's talk about places and situations. We're going to explore some phrases that describe how an environment itself can create a very specific and often very powerful outcome. This phrase is all about cause and effect. It describes a place or a situation where something, and it's usually something negative, can just grow and spread super easily.
So this phrase kind of has two sides. Literally, you could say a kid's indoor playground is a breeding ground for germs. Makes sense. But idiomatically, where you'll hear it most, is when people say the internet can be a breeding ground for bullying, because that anonymous environment allows that kind of negative behavior to just thrive.
But hey, not all consequences are negative. This next phrase is fantastic. It describes how one small, seemingly tiny action can create these huge, spreading results.
The best way to get this is to just picture it. You drop a tiny little pebble into a perfectly calm pond. The first splash is small, but then the ripples spread out, getting bigger and bigger until they affect the entire surface of the water. That, right there, is a ripple effect.
A perfect modern example of this is a viral TikTok video. The first action, just posting one short clip, it's so tiny, but that one little act can create a ripple that completely changes someone's life, leading to a record deal and a whole new career. That is the power of the ripple effect.
All right, for our final section, let's look at some phrases that add flavor, drama, and a bit of personality to your everyday conversations. These are the really fun ones.
This is what you say when you want to be a little bit dramatic and humorous about something that just constantly, endlessly annoys you.
So the crucial point here is that you're usually not talking about a life or death problem. You're using exaggeration to be funny. It's a really colorful way to complain about something.
I think we can all relate to this one. Of course, chores aren't actually ruining your life, but calling them the bane of my existence is just a funny, dramatic, and totally natural way to express how much you hate doing them.
Okay, imagine this. You're telling a story, and you're about to reveal the most shocking, ironic, or unexpected part. You need a phrase that signals to your listener, okay, get ready for this.
This is a great example. You set up the expectation, okay, he's a professional fighter, and then you deliver that ironic twist. That twist, that surprising punchline, that's the kicker. It's the little detail that makes the whole story memorable.
So remember, the kicker is your secret weapon in storytelling. It's that one surprising, crucial detail that makes your audience see the entire situation in a whole new light.
So why does all of this even matter? Well, because mastering these phrases isn't just about memorizing words. It's about unlocking a much deeper level of communication. It's about understanding cultural context, expressing yourself with more color, and just connecting more naturally with native speakers.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll leave you with one final question to practice with. What's the bane of your existence? Go on, give it some thought.